Welcome to the recording for week 3 for digital photography. As you can see that week 3 runs from September 23rd to September 27th. And as I mentioned in last week's live lessons, and also in the recording, I believe, starting from this week, so for the third, week 3, week 4, and week 5, you have 2 units each week. So you have the subject unit for this week, and you have the composition unit. Now what I would suggest is you might do Tuesday, Wednesday of the subject unit, Thursday, Friday composition unit. You can break it down any way you want, just as long as you get the stuff done by Friday of the week. But you do have 2 units per week from now on. And we're going to go into this and we'll look at the subject unit. Of course, you have the write-up that you need to do. Then you have the photo assignment and the exam. Same thing. And then for the composition unit, there's no write-up. So you have the photo assignment and the exam. And remember, use the exam previews. And the exam previews I have posted over in the unit, just like always. So all this is sitting there waiting for you. A reminder to learn how to zip, to make sure you're zipping your folders to submit them. Watch this video, about 5 minutes. Also, there are assignment directions right here for each of the assignments. About a 5 to 6 minute video that'll tell you how to do the assignments exactly. All right, week 3, let's go down to the subject unit. So here we are in the subject unit. And of course, as that's loading, we only have 5 weeks in this class, so we're nearly halfway through. So if you're behind, you need to pick it up. So the subject unit, so obviously it's going to talk about the subject of your photographs and what you need to do to make sure you're focusing on the subjects. Now we do have the write-up for this. So the write-up for week 3 is only about the subjects unit, so let's take a look at it. So in the introduction, how is the subject of a photograph important? Well, if we look at this, it says, of all the things about a photograph, the subject is the most important. The subject gives the photograph meaning to the person who's looking at the photograph. So that's why the subject is important. Obviously, almost anything can be a subject. Your family, your friends, your pets, all those can be subject. And they're pretty specific, involving a person or a thing. But you can have less specific photographs that can still have a subject. But regardless of what you're photographing, the most important thing is that the what or the subject has to be clear to the people who look at your pictures. But this is the answer to the write-up question right there. The subject, it gives the picture structure. Okay, in the section 2, when did portrait photography begin? What are the 2 main types of portrait taking or portraiture? And what is the key to making successful photographs? So a little bit about the history of photography. So, what this is talking about, back in the 4th or 5th grade, you maybe learned to write paragraphs. You learn about topic sentences, detail sentences, etc., right? And then you summarize the paragraphs. So you had structure in paragraphs that you wrote. And of course, the most important thing about a paragraph when you write is the subject. Well, same thing with photography. Most important thing is the subject. So you can kind of relate that to when you're writing something. Now in this section, we're going to learn about the subject of photographs and analyze the impact of changing factors on the subject of photographs. Here's a little tutorial. This is about the history of photographs. So this is where we're going to answer a couple of those class connected write-up questions. So it started in 1839. And Samuel Morse brought it to the United States. So he learned about photography processes. And the reason it was on top of a building is because it had to have light. They didn't have electricity back then, so they had to have natural light. Two types of photography. Now it's going to talk about the two types of modern photography. One is called studio photography. So studio photography is one type. Second type, location photography. So studio photography and location photography. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off, but you need to watch that yourself. Let's go back to the write-up. So when did portrait photography begin? We saw that. What are the two main types of portrait photography? And what is the key to making successful photographs? So, the important thing to remember is to take your time to figure out what the topic or the subject is, because you're telling stories with your photographs. So this is still about the topic of photographs. Let me make sure I'm in the right place here. We did that. A topic of photography. I jumped ahead too far, sorry. Okay, so we watched this, so that answered a couple of Class Connect write-up questions. So now we're moving on. So topic of photography. We see plenty of photographs that seem to be pointless, right? There's nothing that really grabs your attention. They're about nothing. There's no subject. So the key to creating successful photography is make sure it has a subject, or like a center of interest. So that's the important thing. That's the key to creating successful photograph, is make sure it has a subject or a central focus. So you think about what you want to show in your photograph. So that's the answer to that Class Connect write-up question. If you're going to a photograph at a local skate park, you need to show the bowl, the ramps, the grinding walls, right? If you just show the flat concrete, that really doesn't give it no topic or any subject. If you really want to show all the skate park, you can take a bunch of photographs showing different features, right? So the skate park will end up being the topic, the subject, but then you have different pictures that can show that subject. So the whole story. So now let's take a look at another step. You want to photograph your friend skating. He or she will use all of the stuff there, all the bowls, the grinding rail, the ramps, and things like that. So the skate park isn't the topic, but what's become the topic? Well, look at the top up here. Your friend has become the topic now, because you're taking a picture of your friend rather than just the skate park. Or your mom has asked you to take a picture of a family reunion because she wants to have pictures of relatives. So you start thinking about it. The reunion is not the focus anymore, the subject, but the topic is now the people at the reunion. So that's how you need to kind of clarify what you're actually taking pictures about or pictures of. Okay, your friend has just had her car painted, has some work done on the interior. She asked you to take some photographs of it. She's really proud of the detail in the interior and points all of them out. So what is the topic going to be? The topic will be the details in the paint, not the car. So you really need to know what you want to shoot before you start taking your pictures. The important thing to remember here is to take the time to figure out what the topic or the subject is. You want to tell a story of the subject. So skate park, you're telling the story of your friend at the park. The family reunion, you're telling a story of the people at the reunion. In your friend's car, you're telling a story about the car, the work she had done on the car. Little self-check activity, so go through this to see what you know, what you remember. Okay, supporting details. So let's go back to the write-up because we're in section 3 here. Give 2 reasons supporting details are important to photographs. If you're going to take pictures of your bedroom, what would be 3 supporting details in your bedroom? Okay, supporting details. Look around you, the room you're in, your bedroom, your living room, your kitchen, wherever it is, it's not blank. There's all kind of stuff in there, right? So if you're in a classroom, there's the usual classroom stuff, the teacher's desk and all that. If you're at home, there's your bed in your room, your desk, your chair possibly, and even the stuff on your walls. Those are all supporting details. Just like this picture of this airport, those signs are supporting details. Now we're going to learn more about supporting details, explain what they are, and explain how they help you define the subject in your photographs. So details support the subject. So nothing exists in a vacuum, meaning nothing exists just by itself. There are other details around us. So all the details of your room, your classroom, wherever you happen to be, those are all important. So supporting details, they're extremely important. And what do? They give you more details of the topic or subject, and they help tell you the important things about your subject. So that's what supporting details do, is they do these 2 things. Okay, think about this a little bit. So your brother's on a Little League All-Star team. First time he's made the team, you're going to take pictures. Your mom or dad has asked you to take pictures of him. So you could have him change into his uniform, march him out in the backyard, and take pictures of him in his uniform. There's really not much there. It's a kid in his backyard in uniform. But you can make it a lot better if you add details. Take him actually to the baseball field. You have him stand at home plate with a bat in his hand. That would give far more detail to your picture than just having him take a picture in his uniform in your backyard. Right? Backyard wouldn't really say anything about the image, but being on the baseball field would say a lot about the image. So those images like the bat, the home plate, the backstop, the dirt, those give detail to your little brother's picture. More about detail. So there are all kinds of ways to approach your little brother's picture, right? Rather than take the picture to describe, you might wait until he plays his first game, then you can take the picture. Take the picture when he crosses the plate. You get the dirt, the chalk lines, all of that stuff. You also get the catcher from the other team trying to tag your brother out, or picture the umpire watching the play. So all those things are important detail that can really tell a story about your picture. Okay, let's say you're on vacation with your family, you go to the Grand Canyon. You decide not to take the group photograph with everybody clustered around a sign in front of the visitor center. Kind of boring, right? So where would you take the picture? Well, look for a location that would add the Grand Canyon to the picture, right? So you can go to one of the scenic overlooks and have the Grand Canyon behind your family. That would give a lot of supporting details of your family rather than going to the visitor center and taking a picture. So think about supporting details. It's really important to give substance to the picture. Little self-check activity, so see what you know about that. So do that. And on that one write-up question, I said here, if you're going to take pictures of your bedroom, what would be 3 supporting details in your room, or something that would stand out to give people a picture of your room? Okay, section 4, describe the context photograph you would take a local park or a school near you. So section 4, now we're about context. And everything has context, right? So context is what is contained within a picture. We talk about people when they talk, what's the context of their conversation? Well, it's the information contained in it. So context is what is within the picture. So when you're at school or using distance learning course, you're in the context of a student. When you're friends, you're in the context of an equal or a peer. When you're at work, you're in the context of an employee. So context means that what is the being within the picture. So explain what context is in a photograph, explain how the subject and supporting details together help set the context. So if we take a look at this, so in the previous section we learned about how supporting details can give a lot of information about the subject. The other important thing is supporting details, they put the subject in context, meaning supporting details give us information about where the picture was taken, what the subject was doing, and finally who the subject is. So supporting details, the context, is what you see within the picture that gives you the whole story. And the context is all related to the subject. So one example of context. In the first context or situation, your friend is dressed in jeans and his favorite sweater. He's standing by a tree with leaves that are starting to change colors. There's a green lawn behind him. In the background, there's a swing set, a slide, and a sandbox. Also, people walking around and things like that, and there are fluffy white clouds in the sky. So obviously your friend is in the park in a cool place. Now on to the other context. So that's the context of your friend at the park. Your friend is dressed in shorts, favorite t-shirt, sandals, leaning against a big gray boulder. Field of other boulders stretched out with some tall brown grass and a few cactuses, things like that. No one else in the photograph. The background is treeless. The sky is blazing and cloudless. Obviously your friend is in the desert southwest. So by getting some of that detail into the picture, it gave the picture context, and people would know where your friend was when you took the picture. So the subject is the same, but the supporting details, the context, are completely different. So think about the context. So a self-check activity on context and supporting details, so go through that. And obviously the unit exam at the end, and there's the exam preview. Now you also have a photo assignment, so I'm going to do a recording for that. So we'll talk about this photo assignment, but quickly, this photo assignment, you're going to go to a park or you can go to a school to take the pictures. And I'll talk more in the assignment recording that I'll create. And you're going to send in 3 pictures, but make sure you watch the recording about how to do this work, and that'll tell you more about it. So that's all I have for the subject unit. So I look forward to your work coming in on this. Thank you. Bye.